Oh, hello. I'm just messing with my epidermis model. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called skin. The integumentary system consists of hair, like mine, skin, and nails. The epidermis is the outermost layer of the skin. Epidermis, epidermis, epidermis. Melanin decides what color your skin is. If you have less melanin, then you will be a lighter color. If you have darker melanin, then you will be a darker color. Your dermis, so the order goes epidermis, and then see this thicker layer? I'm just going to take this epidermis off. See this thicker layer? This is the dermis. So we have epidermis, the outermost layer, and then the dermis. A follicle is what grows the hair. Can you find a follicle on my diagram? I can find one. Here's the follicle right here. It kind of looks almost like a bulb, but it helps to grow the hair. It's the only live part that's on your hair. That's right. All this beautiful hair you see is all dead, which is kind of weird. All right, have you ever seen anybody that's really, really oily? You can tell on their nose. Those oil glands are called sebaceous glands. Sebaceous glands, which are pretty cool. Also, you have something called a sweat gland. Sweat glands are kind of cool and kind of gross at the same time. The sweat glands help our bodies get rid of waste. Kind of gross. Pigs do not have sweat glands, by the way, so all of their toxins are kept inside of them. A neuron is a nerve cell. Unfortunately, I don't have a diagram of a neuron, but I will show you my little diagram. It's going to be very, very beautiful. Here's my neuron or my nerve cell, and let me walk you through all the parts. A neuron is a nerve cell. The nerves help carry impulses to our brains and our spinal cords. Those are the two major parts of our central nervous system. Our peripheral nervous system is everything that's involved in our nervous system without having to do with the brain or the spinal cord. So all of the littler things that are in our nervous system. Okay, so going back to our neuron, this is a nerve cell. These things on the end are called dendrites, and they help to pick up signals with the branched end. So if we have this neuron, and then we have another neuron right here, the little impulses would go down the axon. That's the axon, the long straight part. And then the impulses would have to go to another one, and they would actually have to jump over this little gap to go to this dendrite. So the dendrite is almost like the end of the bone, if you could think about it like that. It's the little end. It's the receiver, kind of like a UPS station or a post office station. It accepts the synapse and it goes to the dendrite. And I just introduced you to a new word. It's called synapse. Synapse is the little gap that it jumps. Have you ever jumped off a dock or tried to do a jumping contest with someone? You would try to see how far you could go. Well, just pretend like you're jumping from dendrite to dendrite. And the little space between the dendrites is called the synapse. All right, our next word, I already explained what this long one is. Do you know what it is? It starts with an A, and then an X, and then an O. Can you finish it? Yep, I'm sure you're going to say axon, and I hope I wrote that correctly. Yes, I did. My upside down writing is going well. Okay, so I already explained about the two nervous systems. Now let's talk more about the brain. I'm going to give you a new picture. And I know I'm not the best artist, but hopefully it'll help you a little bit more with the different parts of the brain. So our brain actually has two hemispheres. A hemisphere is if I took my head and I cut it right in half. The right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Those two hemispheres are called your cerebrum. And if you look at it like this isn't a super great picture, I know. But this is the front of your head, and this would be the back of your head. So this would be one hemisphere, and then the other hemisphere would be right there. So the brain comes apart in two nice little parts. Just like if you took a tennis ball and you cut it right in half, then you would have two hemispheres of a tennis ball. Okay, let's talk about some more parts of the brain. So we have our cerebellum, which is divided into two hemispheres. And then we have, or a cerebrum, that's divided into two hemispheres. And then we have a cerebellum, which works to control your muscle activities. The brain stem is our next idea, and our brain stem connects our brain with our spine. And it helps to control the non-thinking parts of our body. Have you ever wondered why in the middle of the night you didn't have to tell your brain to breathe or to scratch your nose or to maybe, swallow or things like that? Well, it's because of your brainstem. Your brainstem helps your body go on autopilot, if you will, during the night. So you don't have to tell your body to do anything. It does it all on its own.